Minister, I want to start by appealing to you to support this motion, but more than just support the motion, to ensure that all of the asks which are in this motion, which are supported by Family Carers, by Family Carers Ireland, and I have engaged with many of them over the last number of weeks and months, that those asks are implemented and delivered. For too long now we've seen motions passed by this House, cynically in some cases by the government, and then the government not delivering and implementing, either in deed or in spirit, what is being proposed. That cannot happen here, Minister. You have to recognise the work that carers do, and you have to send out a very strong and a very powerful message that they are valued, the work that they do is valued, and that they will be a priority for government in relation to income supports, in relation to resumption of services, and in relation to the vaccine rollout. Minister, it has been an exceptionally difficult year for family carers, and in the last year they have been asked to do more with less. And I think we should start by commending all of those family carers for the huge work that they have done and the sacrifices that they have personally made to ensure that the people that they look after get all of the care and support that they need. The reality is, pre-pandemic, the supports were already lacking, and for far too long, family carers have been taken for granted and have been denied the supports that they and their loved ones need. And after many promises over many years, the one thing I hear from family carers time and again, and I've engaged literally with hundreds of them on Zoom calls and online over the last number of weeks, Minister, they do not feel valued, and they do not feel listened to, and they do not feel respected. And they're asking us to convey that to you in the strongest possible terms, that now is the time to stand up for carers and to ensure that the income supports and the access to services for them and for the people that they look after, and all of the other justifiable demands that they have, are actually actioned by government, and that falls to you and others in government, Minister. They feel they have been wronged and treated with suspicion. We saw last week the exposure of secret data collection on vulnerable children and their families. And these, by the way, Minister, and I'm talking about the Primetime Investigates programme, are children with special needs whose families were taking the state to court to ensure that their children got the access to services and the education that they need and they deserve. And then when you see the state collecting very graphic and sensitive data on those children, has really horrified those people and their families, many of whom are carers. And we will deal with that issue tomorrow. But it is unacceptable, Minister. And you have to make sure, as Minister for Health, that that practice is stopped and that there is full open disclosure, and that those children and their families, some of whom are carers, are given the full access to all of that information. They also feel, and it is a reality, that they were excluded from the vaccine rollout as any type of priority. In my view, it is completely unacceptable that they were not recognised as a distinct cohort in their own right. And yesterday, Minister, what we saw from government was a clear admission of failure when you have abandoned all of the allocation groups over the next number of weeks and months, is an admission of failure that your system was not fit for purpose, that you simply were not able to roll out the vaccine in a fair and an efficient way because you haven't made the investments which are necessary. And what's going to happen is childcare workers and teachers and SNAs and carers and guards and many more key workers, and including those who work in supermarkets and in retail, who have been real heroes, are now going to be shafted because of the inability of the government to get its act right. And family carers will again also be sacrificed as part of that. It is absolutely unacceptable, Minister, again, that key workers, essential workers, including carers, are being abandoned because the government haven't made the investments and haven't got its act together. So there are lots of asks in this motion, Minister. My colleagues will deal with the income supports, the need for real investments in a new national care strategy, issues in relation to respite, issues in relation to access to services. But I want to again appeal to you to listen to what's been said. Engage yourself with family carers, and please put in place all the supports that they need to get them through what has been a very difficult time period up to now. And when services are resumed, it cannot be on the basis of what went before. It has to be on the basis of properly resourced services and valuing the work that carers do. Gurmagat.